These brave public servants are taking a stand, a strong stand, against a blatant power grab that's happening in their state as we speak. And this will have implications, not just in Texas, but for our entire nation and its future. These brave public servants are taking a stand, a strong stand, against a blatant power grab that's happening in their state as we speak. And this will have implications, not just in Texas, but for our entire nation and its future. What Texas and Republican states are doing at the direction of Donald Trump, I say is nothing short of a legal insurrection against our Capitol. Legal meaning they're using the legal process. Does not mean it's legal, and it must be stopped. If Republicans are willing to rewrite these rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same. There's a phrase, you have to fight fire with fire. That is a true statement of how we're feeling right now. And as I've said, another overused but applicable phrase, all's fair in love and war. That's why I'm exploring with our leaders every option to redraw our state congressional lines as soon as possible. Our state legislative leaders, Carol Heastie, Majority Leader Andre Stewart-Cousins, they're on board, as are their members. And I have news flash for Republicans in Texas. This is no longer the Wild West. We're not going to tolerate our democracy being stolen in a modern-day stagecoach hoist by a bunch of law-breaking cowboys. Americans don't want a system that's stacked against them. They believe in fairness. It's fundamental. And I'll tell you this, they're done with the chaos. They're done with the cruelty. And I would say they're ready to vote Republicans out of power in Washington, certainly in the upcoming 2026 elections. Republicans know this. They've seen the polls. They know they're sliding downhill because Americans are rejecting their policies. History will judge us and how we respond to this moment. But here in New York, we will not stand on the sidelines with the timid souls on the sidelines who don't care, will not invest their heart and soul into this battle. This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off, and I say, bring it on.
We did not make the decision to come here today. We did not make that decision lightly. But we come here today with absolute moral clarity that this is absolutely the right thing to do to protect the people of the state of Texas. Governor Abbott has used this tragedy, taken these families who are grieving, taken these communities who are struggling to recover, and used them as hostages in a political game. Their attempts to disenfranchise Texans is the tool they're using is a racist, gerrymandered map. A map that seeks to use racial lines to divide hard-working communities who have spent decades building up their power and strengthening their voices. And Governor Abbott is doing this in submission to Donald Trump.
Today we stand in solidarity with our House members in breaking quorum to ensure that these unfair rigged maps are not passed in Texas. There are delegations here in Boston, in Chicago, and New York. And we're raising the awareness, alerting the nation that what's happening in Texas will not only impact Texas, but the entire nation. Trump has given Abbott the order to redraw congressional districts to ensure that they get 5 more Republican members in Texas. So that will ensure that they maintain control of Congress. So that will impact the entire nation, not just the state of Texas. And they've directed Texas to do this because they know that the policies that they have passed are unpopular, and they don't want to face the voters. They want to choose their voters by redrawing their maps. And so we will not stand for that. We will not stand for our communities to be silenced. In Houston, in Harris County, our minority district is being torn apart. Our communities are put into different districts in which their voice will no longer matter. They're going to be silenced. And so we stand here fighting for our constituents and fighting for fair elections. Democracy in general, that those that are in power should not be able to choose their voters so they can maintain power, which is what's happening here. I mean, democracy should be that you're held accountable by the electorate based on the policies that you have passed, and not, if you have passed unpopular policies, you don't get to change the rules and say, I'm going to redraw these districts because I want to make sure that I stay in power. That's what's happening in Texas right now, that they are redrawing the districts to make sure that they get at least 5 additional congressional seats to stay in power in Congress. We're sounding the alarm, saying this is happening in Texas now, but it's coming to your state next.
Correct.
And if they can do this to us, they're going to do this in other states. And we're not telling them what they need to do in their state. We're utilizing the tool that we have in the state of Texas, which is to break quorum to stop this from happening in the state of Texas. But we know that each state knows what's best to do for their own state.